When's the last time you talked to Pete?
Last night before he dropped me off.
Well, Pete, we found Pete this morning. He's been killed.
What? What?
This is 28-year-old Cameron Scott Halberton, also known as Fish. We can see that he's bawling his eyes out to hear his best friend, Jared Klein, die, but at this very moment, things were about to get worse.
It's just a picture of a picture. We've looked at it. We've blown it up.
The CCTV puts Cameron right near the crime scene, making him the last person to be with Jared and also a prime suspect.
Were they saying I'm a suspect or something?
Well, it's looking that way.
I'm going to kill my best friend.
We don't think you would do it intentionally.
I didn't do it at all.
Can I see your jacket here?
I would say that's blood.
The clues are evident, but the answer is yet to be unveiled. Was Cameron
The
feigning?
shock in Cameron's voice when he hears Jared's gone, it hits hard. You can feel his panic, but is it grief or guilt? The CCTV placing him at the scene twists the knife. It's like the evidence is screaming what he won't say. Jared was his best friend, yet those stab wounds tell a brutal story. This case is a gut punch. How does someone go from panhandling with a friend to being a prime suspect? Let's dig into what the police found at that horrific scene.
In the early hours of November 26, 2017, Texarkana police responded to a 911 call reporting a single vehicle accident. They arrived to find 27-year-old Jared Klein strapped in the driver's seat of his Chevrolet Colorado truck, which was parked against a tree with the keys missing. But what made the scene truly horrifying were the numerous stab wounds to his face, neck, and chest, along with a pool of blood spreading beneath him. Here's the actual footage of the officers at the scene.
You got a gunshot wound? I can't tell. His chest is wet. His shirt is. Man. Where's the recruit at? Do you see a gun or anything? Blood splatter or something? Well, man, the airbags didn't even deploy.
There's blood going down
See his wrist? Can you see his wrist? Nah, but his shirt's wet. You see the blood on his shirt? He's got rigor mortis though. He's already got rigor mortis though, so.
It appeared to be a deadly assault from an angry enemy, as Jared was stabbed for a total of 10 times. But there was just one piece of critical evidence for the police. They found a receipt and his cell phone inside the car. However, their first step was to review CCTV footage from a nearby Family Dollar store, hoping to piece together the timeline of the crash. But what they hadn't expected was for the footage to reveal much more than the timeline of events. What they witnessed was the out-of-control car running at full speed and barely passing by the shop. But along with that, they noticed a man, visibly intoxicated, approaching the shop right after the car passed by. And to make things even easier for the officers, they managed to get clear footage of the unknown person's face. Next, the police turned their attention to the other items found at Jared's car. Luck was on their side when they examined his phone and discovered something crucial: the call log. They dialed the most recent number, reaching Jared's friend, DeQueener Mitchell, and that's where they found the information they needed.
Seeing Jared's truck against that tree, blood pooling beneath him, it's chilling. 10 stab wounds, that's not a random act. It feels personal, fueled by rage or desperation. The CCTV showing Cameron stumbling, intoxicated, near the crime scene raises so many questions. Was he too out of it to know what happened? Or is he hiding something darker? The police are piecing together a puzzle, and Cameron's at the center. As we hear his story shift, it's hard not to wonder, what's the truth behind that blood-soaked night? Let's see how he explains himself.
At first, Cameron seemed calm and collected during the interrogation, but he had no idea his world was about to turn upside down as the events of that bad night came to light one by one.
I can't see your eyes. Okay. Perfect, man. I appreciate that.
He wanted to see if he had more hair than we did.
No,
He might have more hair than
I
I.
actually just knocked it off for Thanksgiving.
You got less forehead than me.
Yeah.
Starting when I mean, I didn't go.
Yesterday was Saturday, right?
Yeah, it was Saturday.
Thanksgiving you spent with your family, friends,
No,
what?
I didn't do no Thanksgiving
Okay.
like that.
Didn't do no Black Friday shopping. Okay. Where'd you spend the night, Friday night?
At the house.
What house?
2022 Allen Lane.
Is that your house?
No. I take that back. I stayed on Fish Street at Harold's house that night because I didn't want to walk all the way to Ellie.
As things had been cleared up enough about his identity, the detective jumped right into the day of the incident and would soon understand. He would go on to change statements.
So you spent the night at Harold's house?
Yeah, spent the night at Harold's house. I got up Saturday, went by Andrews.
That's where we just were, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the Main Street Apartments. Not quite sure where he was. Then he and Jared and Gotti popped out of nowhere, knocking on the door. I was like, hey.
And Andrews?
Yeah, at Andrews. And rode around with them. We go and eat at the little friendship centers and stuff. See, we dropped Gotti and Melissa back off. He had left me and went and picked up Shane. This is Shane Anderson. I hung out with Andrew for a little bit. Pete came back, got us. Then we went and picked up TT and Cherry.
Who's TT?
That is the little black girl that was earlier with Andrew. That's her girlfriend.
Okay.
Some unfamiliar names are emerging, but rest assured, they hold no relevance to the case. They're simply acquaintances of Cameron with no connection to the story.
We took Cherry to the Mandeville Flying J. He's a window washer, I'll say. He gets out there and he panhandles us a little gas washing windows on the truckers. Cherry.
Cherry does?
Yeah, he gets out there cleaning the windows.
Who all went to Mandible?
Me, Queen, and Cherry. And yeah, that was it.
Cherry?
Yeah, and Cherry.
You
And Queen.
Queen?
Yeah, that's all I know her by is Queen. Everybody's on nickname.
And Jared?
And Jared, yeah.
How long were y'all out there?
Which, when I say Pete, if you hear me say Petey, I'm talking about Jared.
It's Jared. That's like
Jared.
people calling him in school and stuff.
Petey, yeah. His mom can't stand it. She's calling Jared.
What'd y'all call him, Petey?
He got it in about ninth grade. He got it in softball nickname, so. And everybody still calls me Fish. I'm like, well, if I'm Fish, you're Petey still. So.
So you went out there. What happened out there?
Did some panhandling. Came back into town. We hung out at Queen in his house till maybe about midnight, I'll say. And we got a call from Duck. And Duck wanted to go to Mr. D's. So I was like, well, I ain't never been to Mr. D's, but he wasn't trying to pay nobody's way in. I was like, well, all right, anyway, let's go.
Cameron's claim about visiting Mr. D's checked out, as officers verified it with CCTV footage showing him there. However, when it came to the rest of his story, the truth remained uncertain, and only time would reveal how much of it was real. But first, the detectives will want to know his perspective on Jared.
Is that nice guy?
Jared's the type of guy, man, to see you walking down the road and pick you up to give you a ride.
Cool.
You know, I mean, he's the type to 2:30 in the morning, you got your flashers on, he's going to pull over and help you, regardless of what we got going on. I mean, Pete's a good dude. He's actually the one that got me this little gig that we're supposed to be going and doing in Shreveport.
What's that?
He's a welder. I'm supposed to go as his helper.
Cool.
Be a welder's helper. I mean, I do electrical, but he's like, man, we get you there's a labor hand cam. You know, I said, I don't know nothing. I said, I know there's a MIG weld and a TIG weld, but I don't know the difference between either one.
What'd y'all do after you left there?
Came back into Texarkana, and he hollered something about he had some business to go take care of, which, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Pete's got a little bit of a mess habit.
Cameron's answers are all carefully thought out. It's almost too diplomatic. He spoke well of Jared, offering compliments, but then quickly turned and mentioned some of Jared's bad habits to the detectives. It was a subtle shift, but it left his true feelings toward Jared a mystery.
Do you ever do any?
I mean, I've dabbled with it. It's not my cup of tea, brother. Like I said, I like to smoke.
What does that do to you? Like synthetic and stuff? What does it do to you? It mess you up pretty bad?
Not really. I mean, to me, it's not for everybody, but to me, I just get I get a regular high off of it. You know, it gives me a little bit of
You
coffee.
don't drink or anything last night?
I'm not a drinker.
Any pills or anything like that?
That synthetic, I started smoking it about 7 or 8 years ago.
That long?
I mean, I've like I said, I just recently picked it back up, but I started about 7 or 8 years ago, and it actually made me quit drinking the rum I was drinking. I can't drink beer. Got to where I couldn't drink soda pops for the longest. Carbonation would just jack my stomach up. I did a lot of juice and stuff like that. He already had some business to take care of, which he didn't say, but I kind of had a feeling. And I mean, my dad used. I don't judge nobody for their habits by no means, because I had my own, But I was like, all right, Pete, you dropped me off over here by JR's house. My buddy stays on 38th and Elizabeth.
JR?
Yeah, and he just dropped me off right there on the corner. But I went and knocked on the door. Nobody answered the door. I don't have a phone. By the time I turned around, Pete was already drove off. And so I was like, okay, I just sat on JR's porch for a little while. I'm thinking maybe, Pete will just go whatever he's got to go do.
About what time was that, you think?
Long enough to get back in from wherever Mr. D's, Mandeville or Hope, whatever town that little bar is in, to make it to state line. So, however long that would be. Nobody answered. Pete didn't come through for about 45 minutes, and I was cold, so forget it. Closest, I didn't want to walk all the way back to Italy, so the closest spot I knew to walk was Andrew's house. I just took off walking over there, and he answered the door for me.
Matt, things start to get interesting from this point on.
I wasn't at a Family Dollar last night.
You weren't coherent like you are now. You look like.
I wasn't at a Family Dollar last night, though. I mean, I stayed the night at Andrew's house.
Yes. And we talked to Andrew, and you got there between 2 and 3. He thinks closer to 2, between 2 and 3. Yeah, this is at the Family Dollar about 1:45, 1:46, 1:47. So you weren't at Andrews at that time.
No, probably not.
And I think that I'm not trying to hink you out.
What's going on? Can I? Because now I'm. Can I know what's going on?
Well,
I mean, I kind of think I felt like I've given y'all some information. I've been on.
Yeah, you've been very helpful. Appreciate it.
when's the last time you talked to Pete?
Last night before he dropped me off.
Well, Pete, we found Pete this morning. He's been killed.
What? What? Oh, Doc. He's a dealer. Oh, thank God. No.
Cameron quickly tries to throw the person named Duck under the bus, hoping to shift the blame. However, this tactic is unlikely to help him. Moreover, as the detectives prepare to show him a picture from the CCTV footage that will change the course of this interrogation entirely.
It's just a picture of a picture. We've looked at it. We've blown it up. That's you at the Family Dollar
What's
I was
your
telling you about.
Jacket and your blue shirt.
Your shirt, your boots. There's other angles from outside.
Um,
That's about 1:40 something a.m. this morning.
Now we don't know everything that happened.
There's a reason for everything to happen. And
Wait, what did y'all just say? Y'all found Pete? By that Family Dollar?
Yes.
Were they saying I'm a suspect or something?
Well, it's looking that way.
I'm going to kill my best friend.
We don't think you would do it intentionally.
I didn't do it at all. I was doing it unintentionally.
And who else was there?
Nobody was with us when Pete dropped me off.
I mean, do you agree that that is you looking at that picture?
That's me, brother. I mean, I'm not gonna say that.
Can I see you? Jacket you?
Would you say that is right there? I don't know. I would say that's blood.
You are finna try to say that I killed Pete. No, I'm not going for
We want to
this.
know if you were there.
No, I wasn't there,
happened.
brother. I wasn't there.
But you were on the video.
Okay, do y'all have some video of me stabbing my best friend?
Cameron just mentioned something he shouldn't have. No one had told him about Jared being stabbed, yet he directly asked the detectives about it. This should have been a key moment in the interrogation, but perhaps the detectives chose to hold back, wanting to gather more information before responding.
Do you have Pete with me? I mean,
We have you telling us you were somewhere else, but you weren't.
I was dropped off on 38th and Elizabeth last night, brother.
Okay.
how you gonna say that for
Do you
sure?
remember talking to the person in the car by Family Dollar? They pulled over, the car drove by, turned around, came back and stopped on the side of the road. You walked over and talked to him. There's good video at Family Dollar. You walked over and talked to the car, the dark colored car. You remember talking to him? You got a pretty distinct look to you.
So that's why I was asking, was you on
Yeah.
something that you didn't, or somebody made,
That's why we're asking about the drugs. If it made you do something. If he got you to do something that you don't do, but you're trying to help him out and try to stay with him, try to keep him from doing something stupid, but then he ends up talking you into doing something stupid. That's what we
No,
want
I
to
don't
know.
do meth. I'll take a drug test, whatever y'all want. I mean, that's-
Will synthetic make you act crazy sometimes?
no, I mean,
Because we've had people that didn't make them
y'all pulled up on me. I don't. It gives me a regular whole feed high, brother. I get the munchies, I eat something, I lay down. It only lasts about 20 minutes. I don't act crazy or anything.
Well, you were tore up when you walked into the Family Dollar because you walked smack into the door, which we're going to have your DNA on the door. You swallowed that. Then you fell backwards and you wandered around the parking lot for several minutes and you kept looking around the corner where his truck was.
No, I don't remember any of this.
Were you on any drugs last night?
No.
Besides synthetic?
No,
You
all I
take
did.
pills at all?
No, all I did was smoke synthetic last night with Pete. I
Are you
mean,
schizophrenic or anything like that? You don't take any medicine for that?
I'm not.
what time did y'all smoke that synthetic?
Between the time D's on the way back into town.
Okay. So that's about what time this happened. Do you even really remember how you got to Elizabeth Street?
Pete dropped me off.
No, Pete didn't drop you off.
Yes, he did. Pete was the only person I was with last night. Pete.
He couldn't have dropped you off at Elizabeth Street.
Because we got video of Pete's truck
Crashing
crashing with
and
you.
you walking up to the store
Just
like that.
Cameron's slip about stabbing Jared before the detectives even mentioned it is a jaw-dropper. That's not just a mistake, it's a crack in his story. The blood on his jacket, the CCTV, his lies about. Where he was, it's piling up fast. You can hear the detectives' frustration. They know he's not telling Thule the truth. But why? Was it drugs, fear, or something else? This moment makes you feel the weight of justice closing in. How does Cameron keep denying it with all this evidence? Let's see if he cracks under the pressure.
I mean,
I'm gonna go with you having blood on his blood on your jacket. There's pretty good evidence. And this ain't something we're trying to put on
We're
you.
not trying to put anything on you. There's-
We're understanding of what happens. There's things in life that makes people do things. There's two sides to
reasons why things happen. And I'll tell you why. We've dealt with people, and you're not the person that we deal with normally that do this kind of thing. We deal with people that are just badass people that don't care about anybody else, that hurt people to hurt people. We deal with those, and I can't stand dealing with them, and Detective Visa can't stand with them. But we also deal with people like yourself that make mistakes. But the problem is they make another mistake when they come in and they don't. When we give them their time to tell us what happened, they don't tell us what happened. I mean, if Pete had been doing some meth and he attacks you or something like that, man, this is the time to let us know what's going on. We can't know, like we were in the truck with y'all. I know we talked to Andrew and he says y'all been fighting, and he says Pete's been he's kind of been snobbish and act like he's better than everybody, like he's coming down on y'all and stuff, and I don't know why. And maybe that's the drugs making him do that. And maybe he's freaking talking down you, maybe he's attacking you, maybe he's trying to get you bought that bow for $5, you know what
Pete's
happened.
my best.
what happened last night. There's no doubt in both our minds that you really love Pete. You really like Pete. Y'all do. But something happened in that truck last night, and only you can tell us what really happened.
I don't know.
What kind of drugs were you on last night?
I just smoke Thedic. That's all I do. I have to pass that drug test. I only smoke Thedic. He wanted to risk his little work. Gets out in 3 days. Hey man, whatever, Pete. You're a grown ass man, dude. That's your business, brother. I'm anti. I'm not
Does he
going to
smoke the meth or shoot it out?
He shoots it.
Shoots
He's a freaking.
Had he gone and got some
Not around me. I'm uncomfortable around it. I don't even want him around whenever he's high.
Was he because you wouldn't go with them?
No.
Was he? There had to be a reason. I don't think you're that type of person that would just attack somebody. I think you need to be just like this guy y'all was living with. You know, you fought back when you was getting attacked. I don't think you're the type that just attacks people. There's something that happened. And unfortunately, we know you there. There's no, we can debate anything you want to debate, but we can't debate that, bud. We know it happened, but we just like to hear your side of the story. I don't want to think that someone go out and start telling a story that you robbed them or you was whatever. I feel like there's a reason that something like this.
Is that possible?
Cameron first tried to dodge the question with a logical answer, then shifted the focus more on a drug test. Now he's asking for a cigarette. It wasn't the best escape plan, but it bought him some time. However, after taking a puff, things quickly went back to square one.
There was nobody else in the truck with you. And you and Petey was the only two people in the truck.
He said, "Hey man, you want to smoke now?" I said, "Sure, but you know, if I smoke, I'm just gonna sleep the whole trip back." He said, "I know." I said, "All right, put your little country music on." And smoke out of a little socket, a little one hitter. Then he took my nap.
Where'd you wake up at?
He was dropping me off on 38th Street. That's what I say, man, maybe. He didn't come back and get me, though. He didn't. I will be honest with y'all here, too. They, what they call flex. It's like when they try to home-make the synthetic.
Yeah.
It won't work very good. But I did notice that little bit we had last night was really strong. Really strong.
Who'd you get it from?
He probably got it from Doug. That's probably what he got from Cuban arrived.
You think it messed with you?
If anything, like I said, I just went to sleep. All I ever do is crash out.
So what's
Just a
that?
second. I'm gonna take your jacket out here so we analyze it, okay? You cut yourself in your arm?
Yeah, that's cut on my finger.
How'd you get there?
That hand.
We're right back, okay? Can you get your glass of water or anything?
Cameron's story changes at this point, which only makes matters worse for him. With the new developments, the detectives take a step back to regroup, reviewing the key points they've noted and sending the jacket for blood testing. After a while, the detectives return, this time to push Cameron further, and they do it quite well.
So, what's wrong? Everything okay?
I'm ready to go, guys. Today's been overwhelming. I want to go Queen and TT. I want to go talk to Cherry. That's probably where I'm going to stay the night at tonight.
Where does Cherry stay?
He lives with this little black girl that lives up there. He lives with Queen. Yeah.
We have a problem.
Technique of sympathy, hoping to break him down.
Now we're being honest with each other. Like I was explaining earlier, I have family that's in law enforcement, and I know, probable cause. Let's do what looks and go with our best judgment and this and that. But you know what, brothers?
But I will tell
The
you,
book don't always read as the cover looks.
I agree with you
I'm
100%.
not a bad man.
I agree with you 100%. And we're not going to stop today just because we're arresting you. We want to figure out what happened.
Was Duck still in trouble, y'all?
Sir?
Was Duck still in trouble? And you just being scared, you don't want to tell him, Duck?
I can't do this.
You have to do that.
I can't.
Was Pete your friend?
He was my best friend.
What happened, Cameron?
I woke up and we were wrecking. We were crashing. We were crashing. I was asleep. We were crashing.
What happened after?
I don't know. It was like, I thought Pete was knocked out. I remember coming up, I said his name. Pete, are you okay, Pete? Pete, I never asked him if he was okay. He didn't say anything. I remember getting out of the truck and running. I was trying to look for somebody to call. I stopped that car.
Who else was there?
Chuck was in the truck when this one was left.
What happened?
But I don't know.
Cameron,
He wasn't there whenever I... He wasn't there. He wasn't there. I got out of the truck, he wasn't there.
Why would you say you're worried about your family? Come on, can you walk us through it?
Can I smoke another cigarette first? Before we do this? I mean, is that all right?
No.
Obviously, Cameron didn't get his second cigarette break, but finally, he says something that catches the detective's attention. His story has changed multiple times throughout the interrogation, but this version seems more convincing. But we'll soon learn that this is yet again not the truth.
He was your friend, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your best friend?
One of them.
He take care of you? So now it's your turn to take care of him. Look at me, Cameron. It's your turn to take care of him. Right? What happened? This is us talking man to man. What happened?
I didn't catch it all, but I caught that at the end of the conversation. Took one to go somewhere. Pete wasn't trying to take it.
Where?
I'm not sure. I ain't gonna say I was out of it, but I was up on the synthetic. You know, I'm still laid back in the seat. I'm still trying to sleep. It was like they went to at each other, but I thought they were just kind of flapping at each other, you know. And then we started wrecking. And they wrecked. I remember I couldn't get my door open. I remember climbing over Jared. I climbed over Pete. And then I look around. Duck was gone. He wasn't nowhere to be found. I said Pete's name 2 or 3 times. He was linked over the console. He didn't move. I went to go try to get help. Somebody. I don't know. I'm freaked out. I seen all the blood stuff on Pete. I checked his pulse. That's why the blood's on my sleeve.
Where'd you check the pulse at?
On his neck. I checked it on his neck.
Was the car running?
There were no keys. The keys were gone. I checked his neck. And I freaked out. And then the Mexican, he didn't want to help me. The Mexican guy didn't want to help me. So I just left. I just left him dead. I told one person.
Who'd you tell?
I'm not going to tell you.
And for the last time, his story changed, and this time he threw Duck under the bus once again. And about that one person would ultimately be the key to solving the case.
I ain't told him no more than what I sit here and told you, brother. I would just prefer to keep them out of it.
You have to tell us. You have to. Cameron, look at me. Was Pete your friend?
Yeah, but they can't help you no more than what I'm.
They can help us.
They can't, though. All I did was go invent.
Who was it?
Can't tell you. I don't want them involved in this. I don't want them involved.
They have to. We have to talk to them. We have to confirm what you're telling us. You have to. Look at me.
Dude,
Right is right, wrong is
I can,
wrong.
I can sit here and tell you, but he's not going to tell you nothing. He's not going to talk to you.
Well, then tell me who it was. If you're not going to talk to us, that's fine.
It was Mama's son. It was Curtis. He stays over there with her.
Cameron's half confession admitting to the crash and seeing blood feels like we're finally getting somewhere, but it's still not the whole story. Throwing Duck under the bus? That's desperation. Curtis's account, though, seals it. Cameron admitted to stabbing Jared. The tragedy here isn't just Jared's death. It's how drugs and bad choices spiraled into something irreversible. Life in prison for a moment of chaos, it's haunting. This case reminds us how fast things can go wrong. What do you think? Was it intentional, or did the drugs take over? Share your thoughts below.
Curtis was the only person Cameron met after the tragic incident in the early hours of November 26, 2017. Fortunately, this is when the detectives finally get a solid story.
Stopped in my mom's room at the door. She said, "Hi, Mom, how you doing?" Mom looked up at her. She said, how you doing, Cameron? "I'm doing okay." He came, "Okay, brother, can I talk to you?" Sure. I'm in my room, sat on the edge of my bed, and he just started shaking. I said, "Bro, what's the matter?" "Bro, I killed Pete." "Whoa." I said, "What?" "I think I killed Pete." I said, "What do you mean?" "I was asleep. And the only thing I can remember is him hitting me. And the only thing I could do is just reach. And I stuck it." I said, "Okay. Call the police." "No. Where are he at?" I said, "The hospital." "No. Well, where is he at?" He said, "I don't know." Okay. And sat there for a second. And he went on to say, "I left him at the motel." And I said, "Okay. Call the police." It would have been self-defense. If that's how you said it happened. He said, "Oh, no, Kurt." And this is what I told him. I said, "Bro, you got to go. You got to leave here. Mom going to see you crying. And she going to ask you what's the matter. And then you're going to end up having to tell her that I don't want my mom into that." And so he left. I walked him out the door. And I watched him walk up the street. He was headed to Arkansas. He stopped at the corner.
With Curtis's statements in hand, Cameron was charged with first-degree murder on November 27, 2017. On November 29, 2018, he was found guilty. Although Cameron maintained his innocence throughout the trial's first phase, he testified during the sentencing phase, claiming that Jared's death had been accidental. Despite this, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Intoxication can clearly escalate into something tragic or alarming, and this case is a stark reminder of it. So do you think Cameron intended to kill Jared, or was it the influence of drugs that pushed him to kill Jared? Feel free to share your opinion. We'd love to hear from you. Moreover, if you have any case in mind that you want us to cover, feel free to leave your suggestions in the comments section. Also, subscribe to our channel to unravel more cases like this from around the world. Until next time, stay safe